In terms of the Constitution, the President can introduce a state of emergency at least for 7 days without going through the Parliament. This is a provision which President Geingob threatened to use if the existing health protocols are disregarded and COVID-19 infections spiral out of control.
I warned, if you misbehave, I may even next week come back and declare state of emergency. That power I have. I'm warning. So don't guess when I call a meeting, is he going to declare? You will know when I call next week or so on, when I see there is a problem, I will declare it just like that.
Since that announcement last week, Namibians have been waiting with keen interest from the government on whether to govern the country with a tight fist to get the people to comply. But the extreme measure is the last resort, as emphasis is placed on cooperation by the members of the public.
It was never the intention of the President and that of the Executive to govern the country by way of a state of emergency. It is not our intention to manage the further spread, control and prevention of the coronavirus in this country by way of a state of emergency. But the President does have that power, and I know that there's been a lot of speculation before this briefing about whether or not the Minister has the power to declare a state of emergency or to lock us down and so forth. Those powers are provided for under the Constitution for the benefit of the President of the Republic.
Minister Downsap further warned that the Minister of Health could introduce stricter measures as broadly empowered under the public and environmental health laws.
The Minister can direct and regulate like he's been doing by way of a proclamation. It is not something, firstly, that is done lightly, but secondly, it is also not something that he just does by way of a word. There's actually a law that is put in place to set out those powers of the Minister. And so the Minister has a broad power to, when it becomes necessary and when it becomes desirable to manage the further spread of the pandemic, that he would have to put in certain measures. He can, for example, close a school. He can reduce the movement of people in and out of an affected area.
Some of the regulations, such as indoor diners to ensure that tables are 2 meters apart, have been left unchanged but still applies. Members of the public risk being fined up to $100,000 or sentenced to 10 years imprisonment for violating the regulations. Blanche Koreses, NBC News, Windhoek.